Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Dustin, Berserker Bear, coming to you with another episode of Bushwhacking Tartaria. Today I'm at St. John's Church and St. Francis Church here in Old Black Rock, Buffalo, New York. I'm going to try to do a more quick one for you. I'd like to get back into the 20-minute to half hour, get some more frequency of those out for you, and maybe a less frequency of the more in-depth, longer ones. So that's what we're going to do. Again, it's the churches that you see on the screen. I went there as usual, got some pictures up close, and we'll do a quick literary research of the history and get into some anomalies. I'm going to propose an idea. I'm going to cite a very popular megalithic researcher and use some of his information on an idea that I have regarding the architecture that I see here. So let's get into it. Bushwhacking Tartaria with Berserker Bear. What's up, everybody? How we doing? Good to be back. Good to actually try to get a more short one for you, so you don't gotta sit here for 20 minutes, or for an hour, when you can just get this information in 20 minutes to a half hour. So I hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for coming and joining me. I have some cool stuff we're going to go through. We're at the Market Street Historic District, Buffalo, New York. It's in Black Rock. I have some footage, boots on the ground. We'll go over some pictures also. We'll correlate it with where we are on an old map of Buffalo. Read some literature of both the churches that are on this site. Okay. Some anomalous stuff. Very anomalous stuff. And I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to cite a gentleman whom I've been watching for quite a while. More so back in the day. But I haven't watched him in a very long time. But I went to go peek at his channel, and I just seen something that piqued my interest, sparked my intrigue as to what I see, what he sees, and what he says about what he sees. So let's get into it. Again, here we are at the Market Street. I go here, St. John's United. This is a beautiful old church, beautiful Gothic style, I guess you'd say. We'll go over exactly what it is. I'm there, and if you look right across the street, I have some very cool pictures of this place. This is St. Francis Xavier's. Huge, huge place. And again, it's all within what you would say the Market Street is. We'll read that. Very short. Oh, we can just read it right now. Market Street, or Market Street Historic District, rather, is a National Historic District located in Black Rock neighborhood of Buffalo, New York, in Erie County, New York. The district encompasses 15 contributing buildings and one contributing site in a mixed residential and commercial section of Buffalo. The district developed between 1830 and 1912 and includes buildings in a variety of architectural styles, including Federal, Gothic Revival, Italianate, Queen Anne, Romanesque Revival, and Bungalow American Craftsman. That's interesting. Located in the district is separately listed St. Francis Xavier Roman Catholic Parish Complex. Other notable contributing resources include the Market Square, 1830, Black Rock Savings and Loan, 1870 through 1910, Firehouse Engine number 15, 1912, Smith House and Tavern, 1830-1835, St. John's Church, and Howell House and Store, circa 1830 and 1910, respectively. Now let's just go here to an old map that I have of Buffalo from this is a Library of Congress map, and to correlate where we are is what I like to do. on these things. Now, it also says on the actual map 1902. So let's find out where we are. In this map, effectively, to give you an idea, the top left would be facing north, effectively. They're very confusing, the way they orient these maps. Effectively, it is, I think, to lose the radial pattern of the old star fort, as you can see, and I've gone over before, but we're not doing that now. We're over in the Black Rock area of Buffalo, as you can see here. Black Rock. And it didn't take me too much to find where I was. Now here I am. Okay, note Amherst Street. Note the church here. It's in different fashion, but it's still the orientation of the two churches, okay? See them? That's where we are. Let's try to get a similar angle, even though it's hard to get the similar angle because they're panoramic. Those maps are kind of like panoramics, very high up. Okay. So you have Amherst Street, and then you have the 1 and then the 2. So that's 100% where we are on this map. It's interesting, too, because I'm familiar with the area. It's like a couple minutes away from my house, literally, like a lot of these places are. And on this map, you see this over here to the top right a little bit. See that? Yeah, okay, you can see it. That's what all used to be right here. Now these I want to go to. I could still go to these places too. I'd like to get here. I got to get on the railroad tracks, but you could see how an old footprint of old buildings. And to be honest with you, I think in one of my former videos, I got a picture of this place, Pratt and Letchworth. One of those massive industrial complexes. Anyway, we're talking about this place here, old historic Black Rock. And I get there. I just read you the article of that place. Here I am on the old 1902 map. We got both the churches there. Nothing anomalous there. So let's get you some boots on the ground. It's pretty cool because driving up to this complex, this is what it looks like. I wanted to get you a feel for how it is driving up to a place like this. I think that's the old fire engine. There's the old house. Very historic place, Buffalo, in many facets. You turn down the street and then, boom, you have a tower that reminds me of, I'm not sure if any of you gamers out there, it literally reminds me of like old Assassin's Creed, the one with Cesare, and you're in Italy, in the Borgias. I mean, look at that. Right in the middle of a small neighborhood. Rather small neighborhood of Buffalo. Just amazing. St. Francis Xavier, 1913, Black Rock's first Roman Catholic church was built on this site in 1853 by German immigrants. It was replaced by the present church and rectory in 1913. So it's allegedly saying on this plaque that it was replaced by the present church that you see behind it in 1913. The school was built in 1893. The parish closed in 2007 and was purchased by the Religious Arts Center in 2008. That's what it looks like from underneath that. It's just beautiful. It's a complex for sure. Look at that, dude. This was a panoramic I took of it. So what's interesting too, I want to draw your guys' attention to you might say that doesn't look antiquitech, that looks new, but when I was here on one of my, now imagine walking out your front door and seeing that. This is like a panoramic, obviously, so this street is straight. And I was talking to some cat over here who was shoveling, and he's lived there for 50 years, and I'm like, wow, what a beautiful sight to walk out your front door to every day, right? And he's like, oh, yeah, for sure. And he brought up these things. I'm like, what? He brought up these things. I'm like, this is a great, beautiful old red brick. And he's like, yeah, those things been up there ever since I was a kid, at least 50 years. And I'm like, huh, is that right? Interesting, Um, some local gravy for sure. And yeah, look at that right across. I mean, he was like, his house was like right here, So let me just see where I am right now. I got a video, I thought. A longer video, boots on the ground, so I can read this stuff to you. Pardon me while I shoot from the hip here. There's one. I thought I had a longer one. So let's just do this. Yeah, interesting boots on the ground information there. That, oh, I got two of them here. Here we go. I'm going to open this up. We're going to read from this article, The Significance of the St. Francis Xavier Roman Catholic Church Complex, while I play you that video. So sorry for the confusion here. I'll drop these in the description also. And we'll read this as well. This is the Wikipedia of the St. Francis Xavier. Now, mind you, they're effectively two different churches, but they're very close proximity here, especially on the old map. And of course, you can see it on Google Earth. And I'm not saying that has any specific significance other than that they're in close proximity. It is what it is. So let's get the boots on the ground. Let's get that video for you playing. You guys like that? And here we go. So the St. Francis, excuse me, the St. Francis, I wanted to get you the idea that I'm pretty much just getting out of the car and getting right into it. So I was putting on my gloves actually too, because it was cold. I had to go back into my car and get the gloves. And there you go. So here we are. St. Francis Xavier Roman Catholic Church Complex in the Black Rock section of Buffalo, New York is a largely intact example of Roman Catholic urban parish established to meet the needs of a growing neighborhood populated predominantly by German and Irish immigrants. It's usually the story. It says that it's a growing neighborhood, but one thing that jumps out to me again is these old maps. It's like this map's 1902 and it says growing neighborhood, and they had to build the new church in 1913. This is a fully built out neighborhood effectively. I mean, look at this is a huge, the city limits are kind of right here, but that just that sticks out to me as a little bit peculiar, but I digress. Keep going here. So, consisting of a church, rectory, school, and convent, not extant, quote unquote, or in parentheses rather, excuse me. I'm not sure what that means, not extant, E-X-T-A-N-T. Anyway, the buildings were designed by prominent Buffalo architects, the church by Max Burial, the rectory by Carl Schmill, and the school built in 3 sections, keep that in mind, by Carl Schmill. Okay, Schmill and Gold and the successor firm carried on by Carl Schmill after his father's death. St. Francis Xavier's is the first Catholic parish and school to be established in the Black Rock, or what was then known as Lower Black Rock, in 1983. A school consolidation plan involving St. Francis and other Black Rock parish schools was implemented, resulting in the closing of St. Francis School, one of the oldest schools in the Catholic diocese. A school that had played a major role in not only the education, but also in the social lives of virtually thousands of children. Kind of sounds like a Father Baker narrative, maybe. Anyway, so keep going. St. Francis Xavier is one of only 2 large ecclesiastical complexes that architecturally dominate the Black Rock section of Buffalo. And that's absolutely true, 100% for sure. And I think I just showed that by that little video where you turn down the street and it's that massive tower. Since its inception, St. Francis Xavier has had an overriding presence in Black Rock. So that was, I will drop that article in. Look at this. Right in the middle of a neighborhood. Now I'm going to read the Wikipedia. Sorry about that. And then we'll get into this church also. And check this out real quick. Huh? Kind of odd. But anyway, let's get back to that. And I will read now I'm going to read the wacky page of St. Francis Xavier. And keep going for you. St. Francis Xavier Roman Catholic Parish Complex is a historic former Roman Catholic church complex located in Buffalo. Description: the Francis Xavier Complex consists of a Lombard. Never heard that before reading this. I did the research before and that kind of stuck out to me. Lombard. I have an old history architectural book too. Note the different foundation. Okay. Lombard Romanesque Revival Basilica Style Church, 1911-1913. A Queen Anne Style Rectory, 1895, and a school completed over 3 phases. Keep that in mind. That's referenced in 2 different articles. In 1895, 1906, and 1956. I'm not going to get real deep into these. Sorry, I had to wipe that stuff off. There was some snow that got on there. Into the literature here. Like I said, I want to make this kind of tight and concise for you. 3 phases, the rectory, which we're coming up to now. That's the rectory right there. See it? Now, I wonder if that's, we'll talk about it in a second. Built in 3 phases, 1895, 1906, and 1956. The church measures 156 by 67 feet and is 2 1/2 stories high with a low-pitched red clay tile roof. A large rose window is centered on the front facade above the triple arched entry. Campanile rises roughly 114 feet from the southwest corner of the structure and holds a 4-sided clock on its 5th level. After the Diocese of Buffalo announced in 2007 that the parish would close, common theme, the Buffalo Religious Arts Center, a museum that collects religious artifacts from closed churches in Buffalo, bought the property and continues to occupy it. It was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 2009. Ignatius Fornes, John Hanbeck were 2 of the founders of St. Francis Xavier Church on East Street in Buffalo. And when the church had its 50th Jubilee, Ignatius Fornes and 1 other man were guests of honor as the only surviving founders. Look at that. So that's the end of that article, but you know what? Let me just rewind that actually and show how unbelievably not smart it is to build a building like that. I don't know why you would do that. And look at, they have to retrofit with grates over, and there's always pits in here too, so it doesn't melt directly into the window, as obviously you can see. It's not, it's not, in my opinion, what you would typically do for building a foundation in a climate where there's ice melt, thaw, all that. And yeah, again, the growing neighborhood idea. It's always the same thing with German Irish immigrants coming over, and the parish grows and they have to build a thing out. And look at that. That would be the Romanesque revival, how it's got the back rotunda around. I've addressed that before in previous videos. This is coming to the end of this one. And I'm going to read, let's get you this one. Now that's St. John's, okay? And I'll read that article also. Pardon me while we do this.
Okay, so I'm kind of walking up onto this. Get you some boots on the ground, and it's snowing too. So this is 85 West Amherst Street, Buffalo, New York. And the owner of this, as it says on this article, there's no, well, maybe there is a Wikipedia page on this, but from the physical description and current condition and history, from the Black Rock Lifer on Buffalo Rising Street. St. John's was established as German Evangelical Church of Black Rock in 1847. The church has been serving the Black Rock community continually since that time. The present building was constructed in 1890, incorporating the tower from the old building. The church is located in the Market Square Historic District and is part of a very attractive streetscape here in the heart of the old village of Lower Black Rock. I will put that in the description. And look at the build out and look at the, so this was built in, as it says, 1890. I don't have the article up. I just closed it, to be honest with you. And I probably shouldn't have. Let's see if I can find it again. St. John's. There it is. Okay. This is the one I wanted to read. I'm sorry about that. Keep going here. So this is that weird article that says, okay, St. John's United Evangelical, 1890, architect unknown, founded 1847. 20 men residing in the Black Rock area met in 1847 and organized St. John's United Evangelical Church. The group, under direction of Reverend P. Brumbach of Tonawanda, initially held the monthly meetings in private homes prior to moving to a public school on Dearborn Street. In 1850, under the direction of Reverend Mayer, the congregation began meeting in the English Baptist Church at 152 Dearborn Street, destroyed, in parentheses. During their stay here, they grew in number as many German immigrants settled in the village of Black Rock. With the congregation having grown to about 60 families, by 1852 they began planning for the construction of their first house of worship. M. Haste and J. Schmidt, members of the 1852 congregation, donated the lot at 85 Amherst, and on 26 August 1852 the cornerstone of the first church was placed. Measuring 60 by 40 feet, it was completed at a cost of $3,500. Being a young congregation, this project placed a great burden upon them. One member of A. Schraft raised $600 towards the cost from people living in the area who sympathized with the plight of the struggling congregation, and they built that thing. A second member, M. Haste, mortgaged his farm, providing $800 with which to finish the church. And the architect was unknown. Tragedy struck the church on December 25th, 1979, when a fire severely damaged the building. An overheated motor of an organ sparked the blaze, resulting in $700 damage. Although it gutted the building, the congregation quickly began plans to rebuild. Current interior, of course, a fire. Now let's get into the idea that I wanted to bring. So that was the boots on the ground. I'm not going to get real too much into, again, the literature like I did with Father Baker and the other ones. I don't want this to be too long, and I want it to be a little bit more bite-sized for you. And hopefully we can get some more out there. So pay attention to this, is what I wanted to bring to the table here. Now, note the different levels of construction. Some will say that's the foundation. Some might say that's the basements of old foundations of former civilizations. We don't know. That said, let's get into what I want to say here. So, now, one of my older videos, I have this footage from when I came up to this on the tracks. Now, where I am here is
not too far away from this place. I'm over on these tracks, down by the foot of ferry, looking at these buildings. Matter of fact, I'm literally at, where am I? As a matter of fact, where I am is right here. Okay, I have an old video. Maybe I'll drop that one in the description also. And give you more reference. Okay, so here we go. Now, layers of construction. What I want to do is give you an idea of the idea that I'm thinking about, because I watched a video from this gentleman here, whom I've been a big fan of for quite a while. He's a megalithic researcher, and his name's Brian Forster. I haven't watched his videos in a very long time, and I can actually prove that for you, but I was a fan of him for a long time. Michelle Gibson was also, we talked about him as well. But so I haven't watched videos from him in a long time, and I just want you to see a little small clip of what I have now. You'll see in his history bank, I don't really watch his videos. You could see there was one day, like last week, where I'm like, oh, I'll just see what he's got going on. And you can see I played this one. I haven't played much more at all. I just watched this, and now I'm just going to play it for you right now. Not that. I apologize. So this is, keep an eye on the different layering, and we'll go back to that video in a second. Sorry about that. So this is Brian Forster, and I want to show you what he's saying here. Keep an eye, or pay attention. And it starts at 144. Okay, here we go. Brace your ears. It might be a little louder than me.
3 levels of construction, 3 different colors. In the case of the church, which we'll be filming in a moment, 3 levels of construction, 3 different cultures. So look how tight-fitting these stones are. Filming in a moment, 3 levels of construction, 3 different cultures. So look how tight-fitting these stones
are. Let me play one more
3
time.
Levels of construction. Church, which we'll be filming in a moment, 3 levels of construction, 3 different cultures.
3 levels of construction, 3 different cultures. Now that is right there. Those look like different levels of construction. And what Brian Forster was referencing was a constructed building. This is a constructed building. This has 3 different levels of construction. It would seem to indicate, well, what he's saying is it's 3 different civilizations. And when you're talking megalithic stuff, you know, that they've pulled out of the dirt, I agree with him. And all I'm saying is, well, you know, it certainly looks like that here as well. Prove me wrong, or do you have any opinions on it? It's kind of the idea that I wanted to put out here. And I got your boots on the ground too. And I'm also going to show another idea here as well. There's 3. I said it before, this is confusing. You have red brick filled in here. There's a hole. This is a heavily industrialized area 100 years ago. Radial street patterns mean that they can dig down to stuff and everything. I get that. 10 tribes, or the tribes of Israel video that I watched, or that UAP spoke about, and how things might be radiating out from the biblical area over in Israel over there. It's all encompassing, and it's possible that they were here before. And it's possible these are the basements of those old buildings that they had. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know. But I think this is a step to move forward by utilizing something that an established researcher in Brian Forster has proposed, that 3 different levels of construction indicate three different civilizations, and I would apply that here and say, well, what's going on? Okay, I know I'm just proposing questions, but I think that they need to be proposed, and that's a very good one. And I have if I'm in the album here, I do have different, this is the video. We've seen that, we went over that. That's where I am. This is a little bit further down, the tracks, actually. The tracks. I got to get back to the tracks too, guys. I'll get on there, get some more footage for you. This is where I am here. Now, the different layers of construction are, I'm not saying that it does apply here, but I'm saying that incorporate that idea. Look through it in that lens, if you will. Okay, different building. Another building. I'm just trying to show examples here, effectively. Another church in Buffalo I got to do. Different layers of construction, maybe, possibly. Foundation, yes, maybe. Or that could be facade. Just to give you an idea, though, different layers of construction. Brian Forrester has said, proposed it's different civilizations. What civilization are we talking about that would have done this if we're using that lens? Of course. Another good one, retrofitted staircase over the window, of course. You know, just showing examples here, guys. These buildings are all over Buffalo, and the red brick are on top of the old stuff. I know they were recycling those red bricks, but and here's where I am. It says it was built in. This is the rectory or the school, not the rectory. This is the school where it says it was built in 3 different stages. This just looks like different color to me, but you got the sun blaze over the windows here. You got 1, 2, at least 2 different layers of construction here, I think. 2 different civilizations, I don't know. Take what Brian Forrester said with a little grain of salt. And we also have another idea that I want to propose here today, and we'll round it out with getting you back over here, guys. Okay. Can't be sinking. This is another place that's near me. Matter of fact, right down the river. Still Buffalo. Oh, where you at? Rich Marina. Here we go. See these buildings right here, guys? Old World Industry. Maybe a little buried, huh? This is an idea, and you can see it in my title. It can't be sinking. I understand the idea of very heavy old cathedrals looking like they've been mud flooded. Possibly it might have been terraforming because of the radial street pattern designs. I've addressed that before. The actual definition of a radial street pattern says that the topography can be changed to make sure that the radial street pattern stays symmetrical. I've addressed that. But some mud flooded buildings look like they sunk a little bit, and I understand that that's a good assessment. However, there's also red brick buildings that are shells that aren't that heavy, one would think, that have that same evidence, and I just want to address that. And I forgot that I had these pictures. Excuse me. I forgot I had these pictures from this place, and I wanted to get these in on a video. Just real quick, again, I'm right here. Actually, I'm right here taking pictures of this thing. And I just wanted to show that, you know, this thing looks like this thing can look like it was sunk too, but I don't think it was. It was probably either buried, maybe mud flooded, or terraformed and the ground flattened around it type of deal. Like backfilled, flattened around it. Because I don't think this building would be heavy enough to sink. That's the whole idea. It's obviously old. It's got the old red brick. And I wanted to show that because that's a door, effectively, that's only like 3 feet. So it's obviously a door that was formerly a normal sized door, but now it's not because the ground is like right there. Extremely odd for an old industrial building like that. And then you got bricked in windows. This might be a window or a door over here. Again, the ground is a little bit too high. And I don't think it's sinking because this building is not as heavy as these cathedrals that you see like in Europe and everything that might be sinking, but I don't think so. So yeah, that's it. That's a bushwhacking Tartaria from the actual Xavier Church. I hope you liked it, and I proposed that idea of Brian Forster. I think that he nailed it on the head, and I think that I was made to watch that video for a specific reason. But I hope you like it. Please like, share, and subscribe. And also come over here. If you go to my YouTube page, which is right here, okay? My top rocker in the bottom right is where it will take you to our research website, where we have right now almost 800 members. This was created by Campbell. Myself, I'm an administrator along with Calum and Muddy May. If you have any questions, they'll take care of you. They're very knowledgeable on the subject for sure. So if you have any questions, please hit us up. And you have to subscribe to the site or apply to our group, because we want to make sure that it's just people who are interested. So yeah, if you come to my YouTube, which I hope you do, please subscribe, share. Please also come check us out at MeWe. You can contribute, you can take pictures, load them up directly, you can chat with other members. I'd like you to keep it research specific, when you post stuff. And if you drop a video from YouTube, write a brief description about it. Please don't just drop a video. People who are coming and seeing stuff like to have a little description of it. So yeah, this is what we do over here at MeWe, and we like to network the realm and move the research forward. Okay, so again, this was Dustin, Bushwhacking Tartaria with Berserker Bear, Xavier Church, and St. John's. I will catch you on the next one. All right, take care.